Hey guys, tonight we begin with a gentle little journey back to a time where survival was less of a plan and more of a daily gamble. So go ahead, dim the lights, get comfortable, maybe pull a blanket over yourself, and prepare to slowly drift into a world that absolutely did not want you to exist. Because tonight, we're talking about why you wouldn't survive a week in medieval Europe. And not in a dramatic, heroic way. Not in a you died bravely in battle kind of way. No, more like a quiet, inconvenient, slightly embarrassing exit. The kind where you just get sick, or cold, or unlucky, and that's pretty much it. So let's settle in. First things first, you wake up. That's already impressive, because waking up in medieval Europe was never guaranteed. There was no safety net, no antibiotics, no helpful YouTube tutorials titled 10 Signs You Might Be Dying, but it's fine. Just vibes. Bad ones. You open your eyes and immediately something feels off. It's the smell. Now, modern people tend to underestimate just how aggressively everything smelled back then. Not in a slightly unpleasant way, more in a your nose is under attack and there's no escape kind of way. There are no sewers, at least not proper ones. Waste is creatively managed, which is a polite way of saying people throw it outside. Sometimes from windows, sometimes with a warning shout, sometimes not. So the street outside your home is doing its best impression of a slow-moving disaster. And the air? Thick, heavy. A blend of smoke, animals, sweat, and things you really don't want to identify. You take a breath, regret it immediately. Now, let's talk about your bed, or what passes for one. It's not terrible, it's just alive. Possibly straw mattress, maybe a bit lumpy. Possibly hosting a small community of insects who have been here longer than you and are not planning to leave. You itch, you scratch, you stop thinking about it. Because if you keep thinking about it, you're going to have a bad time. And that's the general strategy for medieval survival, by the way. Don't think too hard. You get up, carefully, because stepping on the wrong thing could be unfortunate. The floor isn't exactly clean. Shoes indoors, optional. Hygiene, also optional. You stretch a little. Your body feels okay-ish. Which is great, because at any moment it could decide to stop cooperating entirely. There's no real concept of early detection for illness. If you're sick, you'll find out when it's already committed. Now, let's check your health. Teeth, probably not great. Dental care in medieval Europe was optimistic at best. Toothaches were common. Treatments ranged from pull it out to hope it goes away. Spoiler, it usually didn't go away. So if you wake up with even a mild tooth problem, congratulations. You're now on a slow, painful path toward either infection or someone with questionable tools getting involved. You're hungry. Of course you are. Breakfast time. And this is where things get interesting. Your diet depends heavily on your status. But since you're not a noble, and let's be honest, you're not, you're working with the basics. Bread. Maybe. And not the soft, comforting bread you're imagining. This is dense, rough, possibly containing small bits of things that were never meant to be in bread. There's a chance it's slightly stale, or very stale, or technically still edible if you don't ask too many questions. You eat it anyway, because the alternative is not eating water. Let's talk about water. You'd think this would be simple. Drink water, stay alive. But medieval water sources were unreliable. Rivers doubled as washing stations and dumping stations, and sometimes, very unfortunately, everything at once stations. So clean drinking water, not always a given, which is why people often drank weak alcohol instead. Not because they were trying to party, but because it was slightly safer. Imagine needing a mild beverage just to avoid immediate regret. Now, let's gently drift into your daily routine. You don't have a desk job. You don't have work-life balance. You have work, hard work, physical, repetitive, often uncomfortable work. Maybe you're in the fields. Maybe you're carrying things. Maybe you're fixing things that don't want to be fixed. There's no ergonomic setup, no breaks with snacks, just keep going, and your body feels it. By midday, you're tired. Not, I stayed up too late scrolling. Tired. Real tired. The kind that settles into your bones. And here's where things start to quietly go wrong. You get a small cut, nothing dramatic, just a little nick on your hand. In modern life, this is nothing. You clean it, maybe put on a bandage and move on. Here, this is a developing situation, because infection is always waiting, patient, calm, very interested in your poor life choices. There's no antiseptic, no antibiotics, just hope, and hope is not a reliable medical strategy. Let's float over to another problem. Weather. You are extremely exposed to it. Too cold? That's your problem. Too hot? Also your problem. Rain. Definitely your problem. Clothing helps, but only so much. And heating? Limited. Winter especially is not your friend. It's less of a season and more of a long test of endurance. You start to feel a little off. Not terrible, just something's not right. Maybe it's the water. Maybe it's the food. Maybe it's that cut. Maybe it's just the general atmosphere of everything. But your body is sending signals. And here's the issue. There's no clear plan for this. You might visit someone who has ideas. Medieval medicine was creative, sometimes surprisingly thoughtful, often completely ineffective. Treatments could involve herbs, or bloodletting, or advice that sounds vaguely poetic but doesn't actually help. You sit there, listening, wondering how you ended up in this situation. Meanwhile, hygiene. Let's revisit that. Bathing is not a daily habit, not for most people. So over time, things accumulate. Your skin feels different. Your clothes definitely feel different. And combined with everything else, the air, the work, the environment, it all adds up. You don't feel fresh. You feel medieval. Social life, limited. Community exists, sure, but it's not exactly a stress-free environment. Everyone is dealing with the same problems. Resources are tight. Life is uncertain. There's not a lot of room for casual relaxation. No streaming services. No late-night scrolling. Just existing. As the day winds down, you're exhausted. You've eaten what you can, drunk what you trust, avoided what you could, and yet you're not entirely sure you're okay. That small cut, still there. That strange feeling, still present. That general sense of something is off, definitely not gone. You lie back down on your bed. Same straw, same companions. The room is quiet, or at least quieter. You close your eyes, and here's the thing. You made it through one day, which is honestly impressive, but also slightly concerning, because this was the easy part. As you drift off, your body continues doing its thing, fighting off whatever it picked up during the day, or not fighting it off. It's hard to tell, and that uncertainty is the real theme here. Nothing is guaranteed. Not your health, not your comfort, not even your next morning. So you sleep, lightly, uneasily, and somewhere in the background your very short medieval timeline continues ticking, because surviving one day was never the goal. The real challenge was making it to 7, and so far, it's not looking great. And as we slowly come to the end of this part, things begin to quiet down a little. The arena fades, the noise softens, and for a moment, everything feels still. If you made it this far, I hope your mind has started to drift just a bit. Maybe your thoughts are slower now, a little heavier, a little calmer. And if you're still awake, well, that's okay too. There's plenty more of this slow, strange history waiting ahead. So if you'd like to keep wandering through these stories with me, you can gently like the video and subscribe to the channel. No rush, of course. You can always do it later, or not at all. For now, just rest. And when you're ready, we'll continue.